I know you're gonna dig this.
This is Rhine Mclin, host of the Funk Music Hall of Fame and Exhibition Center's award-winning show, Funk Chronicles, recorded live here at DATV Studios in Dayton, Ohio, and now Skyping all the way from Los Angeles, California, Charles Wright, author, singer, songwriter, and producer of Watts 103rd Street Rhythm Band. Welcome, Charles.
Thank you. Thank you.
Before I go any further, I want to just get this off of my plate. I want to demonstrate that the reason why we have author up there is about your book, Up From Where We've Come.
All right.
And the thing that I was saying about your book that was so interesting that I liked is that you have your picture on every page. I hadn't seen that before. So I know that this is going to be a great interview because you have already demonstrated you're unique.
All right.
You know, as we were, we're beginning to chat that the fact that Do Your Thing was something very, very popular music when I was a younger woman, and that they had changed it to Do Your Thing, T-H-A-N-G, and I think even Spike Lee was about Do Your Thing, and you were mentioning to me that you have coined that phrase?
Yes, I did. I did. Actually, my band's first live recording session, I had Warner Brothers to back a truck up to the club we were playing in. And everybody was all the guys in the band was nervous, all these microphones sitting up. So for the first couple of sets, we were less than liquid as we usually are. Then in the middle of the third set, everybody loosened up and I started ad-libbing. And I was ad-libbing because I said, do your thing, because everybody on the floor looked like they were doing a different dance. And so I coined that phrase that night, and it became pretty popular.
It became extremely popular, and you can also tell sometimes generations because we still use that phrase, do your thing. So yeah. I just wanted to share with the audience a little history on the Do Your Thing. You've been in Los Angeles. You were born in Clarksdale, Mississippi.
I was born outside of Clarksdale, about 9 miles in the middle of the cotton patch.
Well, now you getting specific. I was just giving a generality that if anybody wanted to know exactly where you live, the starting point would have been Clarksdale, Mississippi. So when you were a very young person, you moved to Los Angeles.
Yeah.
What were you, about 10?
No, my family came here when I was 12.
12, okay. So now, from there, this is your story to tell us, how did you get interested in music and take us up to where you are today?
Well, frankly, my father's sharecropping boss was the white man, and he convinced my father that all African-based music especially the blues, was the devil's music. And so I was not allowed to listen to anything musically except for spiritual and, strangely enough, country and western until I came to California and started going to junior high school, and the kids coming home from school were all singing these songs. And I was wondering where they got them from. And they told me the Hunter Hancock radio show, which came on every day at 4 o'clock. And it played all the best black music that was recorded during that era. And I got hooked on it immediately. And I didn't think of getting into it myself until the first day I went to high school. I did my orientation. I sat down at a table to eat some spaghetti and a roll I bought there at the commissary. And I heard a sound in the distance like nothing I heard before. So I wrapped my roll and my spaghetti up, and I started walking and following that sound that I heard. But it stopped every once in a while. And when it stopped, I had no choice but to stop in my tracks and listen till it started again. And it kept stopping and starting. I finally got down around behind one of those bungalows, and there was 4 guys standing there singing 4-part harmony.
Wow.
And I immediately fell in love with that. That was the best sound I'd ever heard. And I go back there every day at lunchtime where some of their other fans would be standing around listening to them practice. And after a while, it felt like I should be a part of this. And so I started a group of my own with my cousins. We were a mess for a while, but we finally started sounding like something. And that's how I got involved. And within a year's time, I made my first hit record.
Wow, that's fascinating. So what you heard behind the bungalows was doo-wop. Was that correct?
Right.
That was doo-wop.
That's right.
And you know that doo-wop is such a precursor to the funk, as well as the gospel, and everything else all comes together to make it funky. And but you know, it's nothing like, you really had to be able to sing to do doo-wop.
Yeah, you know, and actually, the person that really got me involved is a man named Jesse Belvin. I heard Mr. Belvin singing a song called One Little Blessing on the radio one day, and his voice was so intriguing. I looked him up in the phone book. I said, Mr. Belvin, I want to sing, I want to sound just like you. He gave me the best piece of advice I ever had. One of them, at least. He said, get your own style, boy, and leave mine the F alone.
Wow. And that was true.
So I said, okay, I'm sorry, but I like what you guys are doing. I want to be a part of it. I don't even know how to get started. So could you give me some pointers? And he was nice enough to let me come over to his house that weekend to hear a rehearsal of a group called the Turks, who had some hit records on the radio too. And after I left there, you couldn't have pried me loose from this business. I just had to be a part of it.
You play how many instruments?
Well, I play all the rhythm instruments: the bass, the drum, the guitar, the piano.
And that's important in order to be in the music industry, don't you think, to have some knowledge of instruments?
Well, in my case, I was not musically trained. I had to teach myself how to play everything that I played. And when I got a band together, I had to make sure that they understood what I wanted without writing it down. And that's basically one of the reasons I had to learn to do all those instruments.
So you could demonstrate what you wanted.
Yes.
So how many bands have you had?
Oh, the Watts 103rd Street Rhythm Band it started out as Charles Wright and the Wright Sounds, actually. And it's the same band all the time, but I added instruments, and we started out with myself and 3 people, and we added other people. We had people come in and out of the band. We had Barry White as a drummer.
Barry White?
Yeah. We had the captain from Captain to Neil as a keyboard player.
Really?
Yeah, we had, we've had a lot of people involved, Bill with us. And it ended up being, when we started working with Bill Cosby, we changed our name to the Watts 103rd Street Rhythm Band.
So how was that experience working with him?
Me being the leader of the band, it was a little difficult for me because I had to hold everything up when it falls apart. And if he had promoted himself to become a singer, and anytime he got tired and ran out of breath, I had to take over. And like I said, I had to keep everything together, and it was kind of difficult for me, but it was a hell of a challenge, and it worked out well for a while until people decided they didn't want to hear him sing. They wanted to see him tell jokes.
I wonder, a lot of people probably don't know that he started off with a little history of trying to be a singer. But most people know him for his comedy and for his acting.
But we made 2 singing albums with him. They're out there, Silver Throat and the Salvation Army Band. 2 albums.
Did they go anywhere?
Well, he had a single that was a big record called Little Old Man. It was a big record. Actually, he played the music behind it was Stevie Wonder's Uptight. But it was a top 10 record.
So when you were in Los Angeles, getting a band started there, you travel around, Los Angeles is pretty large, so you have a large venue of getting into different clubs. But tell me, how did you live on Watt Street?
Did I live on what street?
Watts, because you named it 103 Watts, or?
There's no Watt Street in Los Angeles.
Okay.
103rd Street runs straight through the middle of Watts.
Oh, through Watts. Okay, that's why I knew that Watts 103rd rang a bell, but I wasn't exactly sure how it was.
Yeah. No, I didn't live on Watt Street.
Well, I know there's a Watts area and there's 103rd Street, correct?
I've lived in the area, but not on 103rd Street either. But I lived in the area.
Curious on how important of a role do DJs play in your music?
Disc jockeys?
Yes.
Oh, baby. The most important role you can imagine. And unfortunately, they've all sold out, or I guess I could say sold out. They've all turned to rap, which is destroying the neighborhoods instead of the kind of music that we make that is trying to lift up the neighborhood. And to put it bluntly, there's not a black promotion man left in America So even when I make a record, and I do make records and albums, and I try to put them out there, but there's nobody to promote them. We've been undermined, and it's by design, and it's not healthy for us at all. Disc jockeys are so important. I appeal to them on some of my records to please play this record. But they can't hear it because nobody can promote it to them. And whoever's the big companies are promoting these records today, they're not promoting real R&B artists anymore. Matter of fact, you go back to the 70s and the 60s and the 70s, and we dominated the marketplace with groups like Earth, Wind & Fire, Ohio Players, Watts 103rd Street Rhythm Band, and so many others. And they used to have billboards all over Los Angeles and Hollywood with advertising our product. Today, you can't find a single one, but you find some advertising other people's product. We've been undermined.
So do you, you're still performing?
Yes, occasionally. I'm mostly working on my books right now. I'm working on my next book.
Oh, your next book?
Yeah, that's the one everybody's really waiting for. I had to express myself about what my family went through as sharecroppers. That's why I wrote this first book. And that's something we all need to check the history out on too, because I did tell it like it really is. And then very few people are doing that. History is not really truthfully handed down to us as it should be.
You know, when we talk about the music industry, and you have been in the music industry for a few years, to say the least, and you've seen it change. You've seen it change, and you just mentioned a few things. If you were going to tell an up and rising person that wanted to get into the music industry, name 3 things that you've learned that you would ask them to look out for.
Okay, well, first of all, I'd give them some advice that probably wouldn't work for them. That is to write songs that are meaningful and can uplift the neighborhood. That's important to me. I would also tell them to make sure they hold on to their publishing. They might not be able to hold on to all of it, but at least stay in a negotiating position where they can negotiate it, because nobody would have to ask them to sign it away if it was not theirs to own completely. And the third thing I would tell them is to give it all you got, because that's what it takes out here today.
Very good advice. And now on the light side, and I know you probably have had more than 3, but could you name 3 highlights of your career? You can name more, but I would just like to hear 3 highlights that has happened in your career to you, that you see as interesting things.
I would say, well, when I first got involved with Bill Cosby, that was a highlight. Actually, I had never imagined that. I was a studio musician also at that time. So I was in the studio recording with a band when Cosby came in with his designated producer to find a band to record his first single behind him. And they stayed all day, and when they left, they told us, "You guys are the guys who are going to do this." So that was quite a milestone. And then after that, he came to see us perform, my band perform live, and he wanted my band to be his band. And that was important because that helped us a lot because he got us a contract with Warner Brothers, and which is the label he was on at the time. So that was important. Another milestone would be, there's so many in my life. Actually, I went to a guitar teacher because I had taught myself how to play so much guitar as I knew, and I tried to get him to give me a lesson, but I'm left-handed. And when I got ready to leave, he told me to put my guitar on, show him what I know. So I put my guitar on, and I strapped it on backwards because that's how I play, bottom side upwards. He said, "What's this?" I said, "This is, what do you mean?" He said, "The way you're holding that guitar." I said, "This is how I play it." He's not in here, you won't. I said, "Well, at least let me show you what I know." He said, "Not in here, you won't." And he threw me out of his office. I went home and cried. I decided to go to City College to take music theory, and within a year's time, I had took his job in the studio. So that's another milestone, I guess. And the next milestone is we put Do Your Thing out. And 8 months later, I got a call from a disc jockey in Philadelphia, Georgia Woods. Said, "Hey man, I want you to come and star on my show." I said, "Star on your show? What do you mean?" He said, "I want you to come star on my show." I said, "Who's on the show?" He said, "Chuck Jackson, Ruth Brown," and started naming all these heroes of mine. I said, "You gotta be kidding." He told somebody, he don't even know. And he said, "You number 3 in Philadelphia with a bullet." I said, "What? What song is it?" He said, "Do Your Thing." I said, "You kidding?" He said, "No, man." I said, "Wait a minute, let me call you back." So I called one of my representatives at Warner Brothers. I said, "Man, the guy called me from Philadelphia, told me that we were number 3. And he said, "Man, the guy's pulling your leg. We stopped tracking that record months ago. You better get something else together to put out there." I said, "But the guy sounds serious, man. It's Georgia Woods." He said, "Man, he pulling your leg." I said, "At least can't you at least call him in and ask him, what's going on?" He said, "Yeah, I'll call you back in 15 minutes. He hung up the phone, and in 5 minutes time, he called me back. "I can't believe it. Your number. You sold 92,000 records in Philadelphia alone. Unheard of with an R&B record." And so I said, "See, you guys ain't on your job." He said, "No, it just could be a Philadelphia record." I said, if 92,000 people in Philadelphia love this record, there's got to be at least 1 million more in America that love it. I ain't worried about that. So he said, "I'll give E. Rodney Jones 10,000 copies in Chicago, see what he does with it." And from there, the record just went wow. But we had a problem because the Isley Brothers lived right next door to Philadelphia in Teaneck, New Jersey.
Oh, yeah.
And they had copied it, not really copied it, but came up with some off my idea called "It's Your Thing." And so the two records kept going seesaw at the charts and getting confused with who was what. But our record was the longest record in the charts that year, 27 weeks.
Wow. So now, did you end up going to Philadelphia? and being on the show?
Yeah. No, I didn't do that show. No, I'm sorry. But we ended up going to Philadelphia, but we didn't go right then. No. I forget why we didn't go, but it was very, I appreciate them very much for their discovery of our record, because I knew what we had when we did it. The band didn't like it, but I did, and I put it out against their will. Because I felt Do Your Thing while we were doing it.
When you so you put it out against Warner Brothers. They weren't really in sync with you doing it.
No, Warner Brothers was searching. They was trying their best to get into the R&B market, and they've been trying for years. And they didn't know what they didn't have no idea what was good, what was bad. They was depending on what I put out there. But the band itself did not like the record.
Oh, really?
Oh no, and they, matter of fact, some of them told me don't associate my name with that. But that's not that. You think that's something? When we did Express Yourself, the horn players didn't even want to play on it because they thought it was a piece of junk, and the record company didn't want to put it out. And first disc jockey I took it to, we were playing in a club in Detroit, and I got the first 2 copies sent to me. And when it came, I gave him the disc jockey we were working for. He owned the club. I gave him a record, and he went in his office and he played, and he came out. He said, "I think you made a mistake this time, Charles. I don't think you got nothing here." He said, "But I'll play it because you guys are doing such a good job here at my club, but I don't think so." I ran into him about 10 years later at a convention in a hotel. We was in a party in a room, a suite, and he said, "Man, I told you it was gonna be a smash, didn't I?" I said, "You sure did. You sure did."
Well, some of the places that you've traveled, where were some of your fun places that you traveled and performed?
Just about everywhere. Anywhere that's not home, to me is an adventure. But I'm always glad to come back home.
Well, I can understand that. There's no place. Did you travel in Europe? Did you do any Europe?
I've been to Europe a couple of times. You know, as an entertainer, you're treated real nice. Otherwise, you're black and you're among a whole bunch of white folks. But they treat entertainers real well because they admire their work.
They seem to have a sincere appreciation for our music, especially in like England and
all over the world.
Yes, yes.
All over the world, yes. Express Yourself is in commercials all over the world right now.
You know, when we think about, I'm so appreciative of doing this interview with you because it's been really enlightening. Especially It's Your Thing and Express Yourself, and you being an author and you're working on your 2nd book. But why do you think it's important that we have a funk museum?
I think it's the greatest thing to happen right now because they're trying to stamp out funk otherwise. I appreciate you guys for doing this. And I'm sure most of the other artists appreciate you for the same reason. And I hope there'll be more museums spring up. I didn't know there was as many as there are, but we need them. We need more museums, though. We need to return to a platform of playing African Americans' music, not fake music, but the real music. The this genuine soul music. We need to hear that. That's healthy. You know, that's good for the brain. That's good for the mind, for the heart and the soul of black people. You can see the deterioration in the neighborhood according to the music that's being played to us. It's just so obvious. But yet nobody seems to see it.
Oh, I think sometimes the people see it, but they're not sure what to do about it. But I do want to say to you that I totally agree with you about how music has a tremendous impact upon a person's psyche. I'd like to know about contributing to the Funk Museum, and what would you like to share with us that you think that we would like to have? We'll take anything.
I think I sent you something already.
You did. You sent us some clothes and some suits and some fancy things. And one of the things I want to just publicly do is extend to you down the road to make sure you have a chance to come and visit all the hard work that David Webb and his people have done to even get this on the map.
I will try to do that. Honestly, I will. I will do that at the right time.
Yes.
I think.
Do you have any closing remarks? Because I just want to say to you, Mr. Wright, that I've truly enjoyed this interview with you. And what would you like the viewers to know about you as we close?
I'm giving a scholarship, $10,000 scholarship to aspiring students to go to college, or students in the early junior years of college. And you can go to my website, expressyourself.net, and find out how to participate. Better hurry because it closes sometime in the near future. But that's one thing I want them to know. And I want them to read this book that I have out. So especially the young people, and I know I'm appealing to a tough crowd, but you need to know where you come from so you can know where you're going. And that's what my book is all about. And other than that, thank you very much for having me on. And thank you for putting my display in your museum. You asked for something else. I don't know what I can give you after I give you clothes off my back.
We thank you so much for being with us today.
All right, thank you for having me.
This is Rhine Mclin, host of the Funk Music Hall of Fame and Exhibition Center's Funk Chronicles Talk Back, recorded live here at DATV in Dayton, Ohio. And now let's just keep it funky until the next time.
Do your thing, everybody. Do your thing. It's all right. It's out of sight. It's all right. It's out of sight. It's okay. What you say. I have heard all about Love Land and all of its many charms, but I know I'll never get to Love Land. When your love bone is gone and you can't carry. Express yourself. Express yourself. You don't never need help from nobody else.